You had such a group of people together that it was almost a miracle. You had an incredible cast. You had Billy Barnes.
Billy Barnes would sit down, and we did a show once. One of the first guest stars was Cher, and she hadn't seen the show, but she loved the idea of doing comedy with Sonny. And so they came to this first reading, and it was really very, very funny. But I look at Sonny, and he's going through the script, and I realized Sonny's looking for songs. And there aren't any songs. We didn't do that. We just did jokes. So we get over, and Sonny said, "Oh, it's great. Cher loved it." He said, "Where are the songs?" And I said, "Billy," I called Billy Barnes. I said, "Billy, where's Cher's song?" And Billy looked at me like I'd slapped him, and he said, "Because don't you understand? We're not going to do." I said, and I don't know why, but I said, "You know, the Mountie number." He said, "The Mountie number." And the guest star was Tim Conway, and I said, "You're going to love this. Billy's got a song. Cher's an Indian, and Tim Conway's a Mountie, and he's in front of her doing like Nelson Eddy and Jeanette MacDonald, and she takes his hat off, and the strap gets caught underneath his nose." And so we go, and Billy said, "George, that's not a musical number." I said, "I don't do musical numbers. That's a joke. I do jokes, you do music." And I said, "Come on in and write me a Mountie number." And Billy said, I need it. They're waiting outside. And Billy sat down in my office and wrote a Mountie number for Cher and Tim Conway.
Now, the special you had a good number of celebrities and stars.
Yeah, but we stopped them in the hall. They didn't know what we were talking about. You go up to Douglas Fairbanks and say, "Sock it to me." Say, "My dear boy, I don't." And Lauren Green, Lauren Green was not working with Jackie Mason, and we got whoever we could get in the hallway. We did it.
For the special, but then they started lining up for this
Yes, we did.
series.
Yes, we did. It was great, and it's interesting. It still lives today. People still look at it and laugh because it was just a bunch of young, silly, high-energy, funny people having a good time. And that's what NBC said when they saw it. They said, "This doesn't make sense. You just took a lot of our money, and you and your crazy friends went out and had a good time." I said, "Yeah, we did." One of the first guest stars was Tiny Tim. I don't know whether people remember Tiny Tim or not, but he had this shopping bag, and he sang in a falsetto voice, and he sang "Tiptoe Through the Tulips," right? And so Digby Wolf brought him in to the office, and there was no way to put him on television because he was obviously, in that world a freak, so we put him on, and they said, "Who is this?" And I said, "Don't say anything. He's a very big star. And it's a disguise. It's a character he does. Don't say anything." And he came in and did "Tiptoe Through the Tulips." And after showing on the air, he exploded too, And network said, "Well, look, you told us he was a big star." I said, "You want to see these reviews? Read those reviews. He was a big star." We had a good time. I keep thinking I ought to do it again, and then I have the energy to tape from 8 o'clock in the morning till 9 o'clock at night, and then come back the next day at noon and tape till 2 o'clock in the morning. But everybody came from all over town to come out to the studio. That was, they came out to have, watch us work.
Yeah, it was
an
exciting experience on stage for
It was the best. It was the best. Digby Wolf on stage was a dynamo of material and jokes, and his knowledge of literature and history and so forth was just so vast, plus the fact he was a joke junkie, Then Carolyn Raskin would go down into the basement and put all of this together. And then to balance it, we had a real cross-section of writers. Digby, who did Lean a Little to the Left, and Paul Keyes, who was Nixon's joke writer, which I'm not sure that would be my favorite credit. But Paul was seriously right-wing. He was so far right he did cartwheels, and Paul was there being very careful we didn't go too far. But he wrote pretty good jokes. They were all pretty much, right-wing jokes, which is not the best well to go to for jokes. But we did jokes on all sides. We said, about abortion, we said everybody who's for abortion has already been born.
Yes.
Interesting line, And so we did jokes on both sides, and nobody really got uptight. They were uptight about the fickle finger of fate at first, because we would give it to My favorite was the oil companies and the Pentagon. Ready? Still today. Huh? But it was just funny. It's all we set out to do was just funny. We never did any straight musical numbers, any straight dialogue. Dan Rowan did, they wanted us to do something that was on the right side, so Dan Rowan did this crazy German, Bull Right, and Bull Right would say, all right, drop your socks and grab your pencils, right? And they said, wasn't that an old army thing? I said, I believe it. And so he would say, I don't know why the Jews and the Arabs don't work out their problems like good Christians. You looked at it and you said, what is he saying? And then you realized what he was saying, but by then it was too late to do anything about it. You know, we were getting closer and closer to airtime, so they let us go. We can go on forever talking about, every show was an adventure. Bob Hope came in once before they knew what the show was, he came in to tape a promo for his own special coming up. And we sent Artie Johnson out there, and Artie went out and stood right next to Bob Hope with the German and the cigarette. And Hope looks down and he said, Mr. Hope, every Christmas the guys at my bunker waited for you. You never came to us. And he looked at me, he said, what, are you still in a foxhole? He said, what are you smoking? No wonder you guys lost. Hope went into the Hope you'd always heard about. And they were not stockies, and they weren't jokes coming out of a writer. They were jokes with Hope having met his match with Artie Johnson standing on stage. It was brilliant, brilliant stuff. We did, we're proud of it. I'm still proud of that show. So anyway, talk about it anymore, somebody has to pay me.
Okay.
Great fun, great fun. Changed television.